welcome back. We've now been joined by our guest in the studio. You know, I don't know where to start from, but I've been trying to get this guest for a long time, and finally I get to meet her in person. Well, today we have a marriage counselor, an expert in relationship matters, and author of many books, including Bedroom Dynamics, that one I love so much. And well, her name is Beauty Ochani. Is it Akpai? Akpai? I'm not sure. Akpai.
Whichever way.
Yeah, it's good to have you join us. Finally.
Yeah, finally.
How do you do, ma?
Thank you. I'm fine, thank you.
It's good to have you. So let's go and get down to business because we're far out of time. For me, I was speaking with Madam Ekaite earlier, and I was like, oftentimes you hear people that marriage is difficult, marriage is hard work, marriage, you need a lot of strength, energy if you want to survive in marriage. But every Saturday there's a wedding, you get an invitation or even more. And then that brings me to my first question: why do people get married? Is it imperative you get married?
Okay, thanks for having me once again.
Welcome.
Okay, the first statement you made about marriage being hard, difficult and all, I won't necessarily say marriage is difficult, but I would say it's hard work. Yes, because when you say difficult, I feel the word scares people. But when you say it's hard work, it prepares them for what to expect. Because one thing is sure, people like the idea of marriage, but they don't have the capacity to handle the reality of marriage. That's why when they enter the marriage and they begin to see what we call the reality of it, they begin to feel maybe disappointed. Is this what all there is to marriage? And sometimes it's because they didn't enter prepared. Then another thing is, must everybody get married? The Bible says everybody must not get married. And if you must get married, there's a grace for it. Yes, so you don't have to feel bad, and you don't have to get married if you know that you don't have the capacity to give it all it takes. Because most times people just get married not really knowing what marriage is, so they just go into it not being really prepared to handle all that comes with marriage. So the thing is that you don't really have to get married.
Yeah, you just said you don't really have to get married. You know, we are in our own climb, our own belief here, especially in this part of the world, is you just said everybody must not get married. You don't really have to get married. But here, if you come out there, the society, our own society, if you come out as a woman or a man to say you are not married, in fact, by the time you are like 35 as a woman, you are not married, it's as if you need deliverance. It's as if there's a big problem. Can you talk more on that?
Well, I think it's the way our culture is built, right? In other parts of the world, it's not like that. So I can say that majority, you get to a particular age, and even not just the culture or the society, even the people in your own family, they are asking you, when are you bringing right?
It's part of the culture.
It's part of the culture. So that's why I keep telling people that don't allow anybody put you into pressure. And I'm going to tell you, this is one of the major reasons why people marry wrong. Because we have people marrying for the wrong reasons. Because some are marrying because I have to. I'm of age. My friend is getting married. So the pressure is more like it's getting worse, and every day people want to say, okay, let me marry so that I can even bear the title. So what I tell single people is that nothing is really missing in you if you are not married. Yes. Is marriage good? Yes. Am I married? Because some people are going to say, yes, she's married, and she's saying you don't have to get married. I'm a Christian, and Paul said in the Bible that if you know you can stay,
you stay.
You should stay. You don't have to get married. But the thing is this, we're already in the society where people are going to talk, but you shouldn't let what they say pressure you into marrying less. Yes. And when I talk about marrying less, I'm talking about marrying below standard. When this particular person you want to marry is not even going to meet the pedestal that is set.
Like your spec.
Spec is another thing. You get, right? Like she said, it's modern. It's like more like another thing. Everybody has a spec.
Yes.
Because we are all different.
Yeah,
exactly. And what appeals to us, what we love or what we appreciate is different. So what she may appreciate in a man may be different from what I appreciate in a man. So what I really mean by that statement, not marrying down, is not marrying what you regret waking up to every day. Because people are mounting pressure on you to get married. So you have to know that, okay, this person I want to go into, the person has value for marriage, the person understands what marriage is, and it's worth risking my life for. Because I normally tell people, your marriage is not about you. It is about the children you give birth to tomorrow. It's about your dreams. It's about your career. So people marry for themselves alone. No, it's not just about you. Marriage is more like at the center of your life. It touches your career. It touches your spirituality. It even touches your vision. Because I know of people who got married and everything about them went down. Not because the person they are married to has a spiritual problem, but the person does not have the capacity to handle their vision and their dreams. So they just married this person because they wanted title, forgetting that God didn't just bring you into this world to marry alone. The other things he brought you into the world to do. So are you neglecting all those other things? Are you marrying in spite of your career, and you're saying, okay, marriage is all there is to life? No, it's just an aspect of your life.
It is.
So there are other things that you can do. So it stands at the center of your life. So if you're going to get married, make sure the person is worth it.
Okay, earlier you said that people go into marriage without knowing what marriage is all about. Please tell us, what is marriage about?
Okay, for people, marriage is about many things. It's about companionship.
Which is the main thing.
That's the main thing. Two is a covenant. See, nothing scares me like attending a wedding and I see people taking their marriage vows. And the question I ask myself is, do they really know what they are saying? Because a covenant is more like an agreement, and there's always a third party. Now, the third party I'm even talking about are not your relatives or your friends that are in attendance. I'm talking about God is there. And in the presence of God, you are saying, I'm going to love this one person in sickness, in health, in good, and in bad. You know, they are saying, they're entering into a covenant, and you are saying, I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. And 1 week later, you are tired. Like, do they really know what they are saying? So we've gotten to the point where people now write vows by themselves. Yes. To suit what they like. I believe in faith, but let's talk reality. That's why many marriages are
can never be all rosy.
Like, many marriages, people have watched too many telemundos.
So it's good to perhaps confess what you want in your marriage.
Of course, but
the reality of it is you'll be faced with ups and downs. That's just the reality.
There are two aspects to life, good and bad. Yes. The Bible talks about how when you go through the waters, I'll be with you. You go through the fire, I'll be with you. Even if your name is Rose, life is not rosy. There's always a good and bad side to life. Most times we are prepared for the pleasure in marriage and we are not prepared for the pressure. Yes. So people write vows like, for better, for richer, till death do us part. So they are preparing for all the good, and they don't look forward to days that there will be no food. They don't look forward to the day that this loving person will be like one of the most annoying persons in the world. They don't look forward to the fact that there are going to be challenges. What if, and that's why I say if you marry for the wrong reasons, you'll be disappointed. Okay, let's say this person married for job. What if he or she loses that job? Will there still be marriage? I've seen cases where people married someone who was okay and their partner got blind.
Yes.
Wheelchair. Bedridden. In my own case, before I got married, I had a major fracture on my leg. I've used wheelchair, I've used crutches and all. And when I met my husband, I was still using crutches. I wasn't working properly, and someone called my husband and told my husband that I'm going to marry somebody with one leg. And the answer my husband gave the person is, what if it was after I married her she got this accident? Am I going to leave her because of the accident? I'm not using crutches today. We've had our rough days in marriage. But one thing I can say is this: we are all looking forward to the pleasures, but we don't prepare for the pressure. But marriage comes with both pressure and pleasure. That's the reality.
Okay, so our topic for today, you said a lot, and it all boils down to marriage. That's the introduction. That's very how I guess what she does for a living. Wow. Okay, so we are looking at addressing challenges in marriage. So I want to ask this question because many people are sending some questions to me. I'm going to ask them because we are going to ask questions that people would not ordinarily ask. So why do you think people who couples who are madly in love with each other, perhaps even before they got married, or maybe 1 year to their marriage, at the end of the day fall out of love? What could be a cause of that?
So the thing is, I won't really say people fall out of love, right? Love in marriages dies because of what we do and what we don't do. Now people fall in love, but they don't prepare for sustaining love. Love in marriage is supposed to be sustained. It doesn't survive on its own, right? There are many things you must do to
nourish it.
Of course. It's just like buying a car, right? It doesn't stop at buying car. When you buy a car, if you want your car to keep moving, you need to keep adding fuel. You need to go service it, fix one thing here or there once in a while. So it's not supposed to just run on its own, and that's what love in marriage is like, right? You get married, the both of you are so in love, and according to research, after 1 year of marriage, the chemistry may begin to fizzle down. Now that's just like the butterflies you feel in your tummy. The both of you are excited because now you have entered the reality stage. Now the first stage you people go through when you are dating is what we call the attraction stage. Everybody is bringing their good book to the table. I'm nice, I call you, you pick once. I can trek for 10 miles. I can trek for 10 miles to come visit you. You know, everything is exciting. So when you get married and you enter the first year, that's where you see the reality. We call it the reality stage. This is when you begin to see the not so pleasant aspects of me. You know how my mouth smells. I don't have to smell fresh, look good, put lipsticks before I see you. You know, everything is laid bare. Now before you know, over familiarity begins to set in. They are not so caring like they used to, because they feel like I don't need to still do the things I used to do again because I now have this person. It's not like the beginning stage where you are chasing to get. So one thing we really prepare for before I got married is that we're going to keep this exciting, and if that love must remain, it has to be sustained. It has to be nourished by communication, being affectionate, understanding, choosing to love your partner in spite of what the circumstance may be, bearing one another. So it's not like the love dies, but people stop doing what they do, and before you know it, the connection begins to fizzle out.
Okay. Once such a connection fizzles out, how can you reconnect?
Now the truth is this: most people don't even realize that they've turned they've turned from soulmates to prison mates, because they've gotten to the stage where they are now bearing each other. The first thing is awareness. Where are we? What are we? Are we even okay? Because the fact that people live together does not mean they are happy. Yes. So some are just living together, there's no joy, there's no fun. So you need to be aware, like, how are we? What are we? So for my husband and I would do something once in a while. Most times we exchange papers, and he's going to say, okay, write some things you know I should be doing that I'm not doing, and I write it. Write the ones you like, write the ones you don't like. So I write it and we exchange papers and we go back to work. You know why? We do check-ins, which is the second point. First, awareness. Is my marriage as good as it used to be? Second one, you do check-ins, just like you go for checkup. You diagnose what the problem is. Okay, what are we missing? What are we supposed to do that we are not doing? Now it doesn't stop at awareness. So when you do the awareness stage, you now go back to work. It's about intentionality. Because I discovered that most people know what they are supposed to do for their marriage to work, but they won't do it. Some don't pay attention to it, and some just feel, I beg you, is it really necessary? Are we not together? Are we not eating? We have children. Let's face these children now. But it doesn't stop there. So you have to be intentional about keeping that love and connection. And if that does not work, you can seek counseling.
Okay, you talked about intentionality, and sometimes it might mean calling your partner to order. Some people might just say, for instance, you correct your spouse and spouse just tells you, I think I'm still doing the right thing, or shuns you, or perhaps nag. How do you call that kind of a person to order?
Okay, so first, it depends on how you call them to order, right? Now, the mistake people make is that we are very critical. And I don't know if you feel comfortable when you are being criticized, right? And sometimes people start a conversation by pointing out all the wrong things. And this can easily displace people. So there was something I learned during my master's about how when you want to talk to people, both in organizations and off organizations, you use the sandwich approach, whereby you start the conversation with bread, appreciation, look, maybe point out the little things they're at least getting right. Then you put the sandwich, which is bring the main issue. I'm sorry, the longer I took sandwich. You put the vegetables and the fruits, and if you want to add cheese, you do. Then you cover it with appreciation. So the thing is this: you don't go critical, right? Bring out the issue. No, appreciate them first. Bring the issue, then close with appreciation. When you don't see it, I tell people, be patient to wait for the I posted a video today on my page, and I talked about how most times when we demand for a change in our partner, we are not patient enough to see the change, because sometimes what we are trying to change may be something they've lived with for years, right? And we sometimes expect to see the change immediately. We say stop, or we say start. We want them to start immediately. For some it may be difficult. For some they want to wrap their head around it. Do we really have this issue? Do I really have this issue? So for some it may take them some time. So there's a place of patience. Then there's a place of coming back to talk about it. And that's why, see, communication is very important. Very, very important in relationship. Marry somebody that wants to talk. You can't overemphasize that. No marriage or relationship can survive without communication. So after talking, like I said, doesn't work, it's good to marry somebody that answers to somebody, respects somebody that can tell them sit and they'll sit. That's when you're married to a difficult person. Now, it doesn't mean you have to take your issues to everybody. Take it to somebody that can help you. So you talk to somebody you know they listen to. That's after you have tried everything and it's not working. Talk to the person, see if that person can reach out to them. Fine. If the person can't reach out, you try counseling, it's not working. You switch to coping mechanism. How can I cope with this?
Okay. So at what point would you now say, okay, let's get a divorce?
I think divorce should be our last option. You know, I'm not an advocate for divorce, but there are cases where that is inevitable. But first, when it's becoming toxic, your life is at stake, your mental health is at stake, you can go for what we call separation. Now, separation is not divorce. Okay, we are going to go our separate ways for a while to see if we can work on this maybe from a distance, or talk about it from a distance and see if we can still come together. So separation. So if after working on that it doesn't work,
all right, let's look at some issues now. Let's talk about unforgiveness. There's this cliche that women find it difficult to forgive. Perhaps like even when they tell you that forgiving you, they bring it up in other issues and subsequent issues. So how can one deal with that in a marriage?
Okay, talking about unforgiveness. Now, First, we must understand the difference between a man and a woman. Women and men are two different things. I remember mentioning it to my husband once that how did God even expect such two different people to coexist? Because women are emotional beings, men are logical beings, and most of the time us women may not appeal to the men, right? So for women, they take time to process issues. Women are deep thinkers. You know, you do something to a woman, she's going to make that thing, turn it upside down to think, okay, why did this person really? We just look at it, oh, it's just flour. I beg, it's flour, the color is pink. But a woman will pay attention to the details, the yellow, the design, and everything. So most times I tell you that you may have forgiven, but because you have not healed, the pain doesn't go away. And sometimes if the person keeps doing that thing over and over again, it may make the issue reoccur once in a while, right? So for forgiveness, I tell people that you just need to forgive for your own peace of mind. Because how can somebody be misbehaving and you are killing yourself? You are the one feeling bad, you won't having sleepless nights. Won't you forgive for your own freedom? And there's grace for it. And I tell people sometimes you have to ask God, help me, because sometimes, okay, let's say if it is in the case of infidelity, it takes time to forgive. No, now people will forgive, but it may take time for them to heal. And normally it may take like 1 year, 2 years, depending on the individual. You know, healing processes or time varies depending on the person involved, their temperaments, or the intensity of the issue.
Okay, my husband said I should ask you this question. I
hope you're watching, sir.
Okay, so is infidelity enough reason for a breakup or a divorce?
We've had, well, it depends. There are many sides to this thing. We've had cases where infidelity happens, right? And I want to put this in a way that won't be misunderstood. We've had cases where infidelity happen and the couple go through what we call infidelity recovery, and their marriage goes back to normal. But one thing I tell people is this: after an infidelity, your marriage may never be the same again. Yes, depending on the both of you, what you do after the infidelity. Okay, we have different types of infidelity. We have the one we call one night stand. That happens just once. Let's say the person just fell into the act. Let's say mistakenly, they went for a trip, they got drunk. Some is just one. Then the second one is what we call affair. That one is when the person is entangled with this person, and this is said to happen mostly in workspaces, where this person goes and sees this person every day. There's a connection, they see, they talk and all. That one is difficult to, you know, detach. So like I said, it depends on the response, but there's the Bible says when infidelity happens, you can go. But the fact is this, like, it depends on the individual. Can you bear it? Like I said, it's going to take time, and is your partner ready to cooperate with you for that healing process? What about people that are married to people who are nonchalant? There are people that will cheat on your face. They don't even hide it. They will tell you.
You have to live with it.
We have cases where people bring women home and the woman is miserable. She's just there, you know. And we've had cases where their partners infected the other person with an incurable disease, you know. And infidelity doesn't leave your marriage the same. I tell people, if you have your way, don't even start it. Don't start it. But if you go through infidelity coaching, you meet a counselor and your partner is repentant and they are willing to change and work on the marriage, your marriage can go back to normal.
Okay, so let's talk about submission. So this usually becomes a debate for many. Like if you go for counseling, they tell you submission, they hammer on it. And I've heard some people say, like, it's okay to submit, but let the man love first So then submission can come. How should submission work in a marriage?
Okay, I was expecting this question. Actually, all right. So I think most times the issue is that we've mostly talked about what submission is, and we've not talked about what submission is not. Right? So submission doesn't mean you agree to everything. Submission doesn't mean that you'll be an understanding wife. Let me give you the idea of what people think an understanding wife is. You're a carpet. They match on you. Whatever they do to you, you say yes. You say yes, sir. That's not submission.
But you know, in this part of the world, that's what we understand.
No, that's not submission. You know, submission is strength put under control. Now, let's look at how the society is made up of.
Love that strength put under control.
Yes. Let's look how the society is made up. Every organization has a leader. We have Nigeria. Nigeria has a leader. And marriage as an institution is a structure that needs a leader. So imagine a car with two steering wheel screen, right? I'm steering. One has this. So imagine the day both of you are arguing. Husband is saying, let's go this way. Wife is saying, let's go this way. They want to divide the car, right? And I always say anything that has two heads is a monster. So it's just putting an authority, like, yes, an authority over you. Like, this is an institution. This is a structure. We need a leader here. So the husband is the head, right? And the thing is this, like I said, submission is not you saying yes to everything. I've had cases where, okay, a woman once reached me from abroad and she was like, am I supposed to submit in this case? We're abroad and my husband is into drugs. He wants me to sell drugs. And I'm like, at the end of the day, if they arrest you, this man will move on with another woman.
Of course.
So submission does not mean that you do the wrong things. Because, but let me tell you what submission is deferring to somebody, venerating somebody, praising somebody, accepting leadership over your head. And I can say submission is very beautiful, because I have submitted over the years. You know, I don't argue over submission. I've read my Bible. What God asks the men to do is harder, if you ask me. He says you will love. First, he says submitting one to another. The second one is that now we just have to submit, which is the same thing from the first command that God gave. But for the man, he said, you will love me as Christ loved the church. As you go as far as laying down your life. They did not say me I should come and die. But you will die. So if it is submission, it's fine. Submission is, as a woman, you are powerful outside, but you come in and still recognize that you have a leader. You know where to drop your crown. You know where to say, it's acknowledging that, okay, there's somebody I answer to. There's somebody that I respect. He is my head, and I'm okay with being the neck.
So why is it that some women find it difficult to submit?
Okay, I feel it's because maybe the concept of submission has been sold wrongly to them, and we have leaders that are not behaving as leaders. Yeah. You know, the Bible talks about how the husband should be submitted to Christ and the wife should be submitted to the husband. When the husband is submitted to Christ, it's very easy to submit to him because he's being led by Christ. He understands the principle of the kingdom. He's not going to oppress you in the name of submission. And it all boils down, I'll still take it back to choosing well. See, you have the power to choose who you want to submit to. And most women find it difficult to submit because of the kind of person they are married to. But what I tell people is this: we are not in competition, because what we have in marriage today is mostly competition.
Would you say, sorry to cut you in, would you say submission has to do with loving? Because you said, you know, like you just pointed out that some people find it difficult based on whom they choose.
Yeah.
Does that have to do with love? Meaning, if you are not really in love with whom you got married to, you might find it a little bit difficult to submit to him.
I think it will be even easier because the person can dominate over the person.
Exactly, right? But the fact is this: at the end of the day, if you have married the person, you will submit. That's the law.
Yeah.
And that's why I said it still boils down to who you chose from the beginning, because it says wife submits to your own husbands. And that's why I tell people that, see, the moment you get married, people are going to wave you goodbye and leave you with your choice.
Just you and him.
Make sure you choose well, because whatever comes with them, you are going to be the one bearing it firsthand, right? You will bear it firsthand. So if you are married to this person, they have money, you submit. Whether they don't have money, you just have to perform your own part of the covenant, right? Even if it feels like it doesn't deserve my submission, I'm going to do it because I'm doing it unto the Lord, not him. Because the Bible says submit to your husband as unto the Lord. So my submission is as a service to God. And one thing I've really discovered, right, one of the best ways to enjoy a man is to submit, because a man is going to see you as an opponent the moment he feels like you want to drag this position with him. And that's why I'm very comfortable. I'm very comfortable with being a helper, because there's so much responsibility that comes with being a leader. Yes. If this marriage goes wrong, you think God will come and question me? Who are we questioning in Nigeria today?
Tinubu.
He's the leader. When something went wrong in the Garden of Eden, God came calling. He said, Adam, where are you? It was if that initiated the thing. But why did he call the leader? So one thing some men don't even understand is that they say wise woman builds the home. They don't know that they are the ones that are responsible for the home. You are building what we used to build. So the design, it is your responsibility as the man. You have a lot to do as well. So marriage is not one person's work. So what I tell people is, we are not in competition. You make posts today and say men do this, they say what about the women? You make posts and say women, this is what you're supposed to do for your marriage to work, they say what about the men? Like, when did we start competing? Okay, if we all argue and we are not doing what we are supposed to do, we will not have marriage.
Okay, so I have two questions away from submission. First of all, you spoke about helpmate. I was on your live where you were talking about the mistakes women make, and you said and getting offering so much help in marriage. I can't put it exactly in your words, but like there should be a limit to helping a man or helping the family. Perhaps, yes, you made a statement like that. Perhaps there should be a limit. And also, I want to ask, can childbearing, inability for a woman to conceive in a marriage, be a problem in that marriage? Of course, it usually used to be a problem, but how can it be handled?
Well, it can be a problem depending on the people in the marriage. I have a first-hand experience. In my own case, we waited 5 years before we could have the fruit of the womb. So I had like 5 miscarriages, 1 stillbirth, and it was more like the longest wait of my life, right? And you know, when you get married, especially in our culture, in the next 6 months they are looking at you. You are not changing size, your nose is not changing. They'll start asking, are we expecting? And so you are not posting, you know. The pressure that comes from outside, mostly I feel, is what even causes the intense pain that people feel. So childbearing or no childbearing should not affect your marriage if the both of you love one another, you're God-fearing, and you understand scriptures. Because one of the things that kept us is that I knew my name I was going to have a child. Because the Bible says none shall be barren. I had a very supportive partner that won't be blaming me for the problem. Because that's the problem. You know, some people, it's not even about childbearing. You give birth to girls, they say you are not giving birth to boy. They now say I want to go and marry another woman. No, that is what you put in that I'm giving you. So you are the one that will determine it too now. So the thing is this, it affects depending on the level of the maturity of the people in that particular marriage. I've seen couples who have 12 years, 15 years. Yes, they may desire children. They will be sad that they don't have one, but their marriage is not affected.
It's not affected.
There are ways you can have children. You can adopt. But somehow I even concluded that even if I know I was going to have it, I'm like, if it doesn't come on time, I'm going to adopt, because you don't become a mother just by pushing or carrying a baby. You become a mother from your heart. You know, you can adopt a child, and by caring. So you can adopt a child. It's, if you want to allow it to affect your marriage, that it will affect it. And that's why it's good to marry someone that has faith, someone that knows God as much as you know God, who will not come and be blaming you for the problem in their lives, instead of fighting through it together. And that's why I say these are some of the challenges that come with marriage that people don't prepare for. You allow lack of child bearing to affect your marriage. It speaks a lot of
apart from the issue of childbearing, there's a problem, the issue of bedroom things. It has become an issue. It has become an issue. Yes, yeah. So how can, because these days we notice men from 40 years are having issues. So could that be a reason for divorce?
Okay, let me tell you one of the major reasons of divorce. I'm going to list them out: money, sex, infidelity. These three things are major reasons why people divorce. So I always tell people that sex is one very important aspect of marriage. And I used to say this: if your marriage bed is cold, your marriage will be cold. If sex is cold in your marriage will be cold. Sex is a bonding agent. It is a bonding agent. When it begins to lack in marriage, the marriage begins to suffer. And like you said, these days we have people in their 40s having maybe erectile dysfunction. Some women are beginning to have low menopause, and that could be because of low libido. It could be because of menopause. When people some women get to menopause, according to research, they may experience low libido, dryness in their vagina. They begin to have some health issues, right? I can say it begins from your lifestyle when you are young. Alcohol is bad, sugary things are bad. As you age, you begin to see the effects of these things. And the problem some couples have is that when they begin to see some of the signs of this problem, they don't talk on time. They just begin to avoid sex. They begin to claim busy. Okay, if you are beginning to sense issues, it's better for us to start seeking for solution right now before it gets out of hand. So most of them, they are not open to communicate things like this, maybe because they don't want their partner to look down on them and all. No, but if you build friendship and communication is good in your marriage, you create an atmosphere whereby the both of you can talk about anything. So these are things that you should address with your partner on time. If you need to seek medical help, seek medical help instead of punishing the other person, because the other person too has emotional needs. Okay, back to my question. One of the questions you did not answer, so I can quote you now. It says, stop overdoing the help thing. Okay. So I remember I was talking to a friend, and she was very angry that the guy she was going to get married to told her that they are going to be sharing the bills 50-50. And she was like, even if I'm going to share it 50-50, does he have to tell me, wait until we get to the marriage now or something? And she was pissed. So at what point should, like, maybe partner or a woman help a man? Now, because I know I find it very insulting sometimes if a man approach me and say, help me with this. I feel like, you don't have to ask me now. If I know you have the problem, I should see it, then I'll help you. So at what point? You know, it's because from the beginning, men have been saddled with the responsibility of providing. So an average woman expects that my man is supposed, of course that's what a man is supposed to do, right? Provide for his own household, right? But when we say don't overdo the help thing, it doesn't mean you shouldn't help, because the two has become one already. We do things together, right? But know when to step aside and be a baby girl. Like the things that you know that men are supposed to do, let them do it. Because let me tell you the mistakes some women do. They've shown themselves too strong that the man is leaving them to do it. Because she's strong now. let me step aside, let her do it. Your husband is sitting down, you are carrying ladder to go and fix light. What is he doing? He's sitting down, you are carrying everything. You can't say, honey, please carry it. Let me carry it. I'm the girl here. I don't know if you understand. Another thing is this: when you marry a laid back man, some women, I'm sorry to say this, there's nothing wrong with assisting. Of course, the way the economy is, it will be very unfair for you to even leave all the financial pressure on your husband, especially if you know what he earns and you know that, okay, this is something I can help, let me just relieve it. I don't know if you get. So it should be something that you do willingly, not because you are put under pressure to do. I don't know if you get. You're not under pressure to do it, but you do it because the two has now become one. Okay, talk about people that live
in 1 minute.
So sorry. Okay. Talk about people that live abroad, for instance. Most of them share bills because of the way the system works. I've lived there before. I've lived there before, and my husband takes care of the majority of. I think it got to a point I had to tell him, see, okay, pay the rent. I was the one that started suggesting, not because my husband has never asked me since we got married. We are going to share the bill. I want you to do this. He's so, I don't know if he's
manly,
the gala money. Yes. They have pride. They have. You tell you that my dad say a man should be able to take care of his family. I know if you want to do good. But when I saw how the system was working, I'm like, okay, you are paying rent, you're paying my school fees at the same time. Okay, let me do food. Let me take care of the food. You get. But when it comes to a point that a man start demanding for the woman to share in the bill, I'm sorry to say, as a man, your respect will come down.
Indeed. Well, it's been a very beautiful time with you. I wish you just spoke. I don't know how to finish. I still have a whole lineup of questions. Oh my God. Well, maybe next time. I don't know. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
One thing I have taken from the show is submission is strength put under control. Well, until next time, I remain your host, Victoria Agbi Idoko.
Kaiti Boots is my name. Bye.
All right. Bye.
Bye.